Assalamu alaikum and hi. Welcome to Tuesdays with Dr. T. So today we are going to be talking about how I recovered my severely struggling nonverbal son's speech without any therapy. So if that's not an important point to talk about, to discuss, to learn and share, I don't know what is. So if it's something that you're interested in, let's just hop on and stay until the end, because I am going to be announcing something really big and cool as an Eid bonus or Ramadan bonus for you all. So stick until the end so that I can share that with you, okay? So today's episode I am going to be, let me check a little bit. So today's episode I am going to be talking in 3 segments. The first one, in the first one I will be speaking a little bit about speech therapy 101. So that means how your child is tested, and then what are usual typical speech therapy session entitles, how it looks like, okay? And then in the second segment I will be discussing why I didn't go for any therapies, okay, my reason for that. And I will be sharing a lot of information with you, like cost and investment and stuff that all over the world we are spending but we are not seeing results in. And the last part for which you need to stay is how I will give you the real details. I will share the real secrets on how I recovered my son's speech in under 8 months, alhamdulillah, and how you can do that too, okay? So without further ado, let's jump into it. Assalamu alaikum, Hamna, Faria, and I have my coach here also, Melissa. Thank you so much for coming. So the first thing that I wanted to say is, what does a typical speech language pathology session looks like, and how is your son or daughter tested, okay? So the first thing that we all struggle is to get an appointment, okay? If you are anywhere in the world, the first struggle that we have is to get an appointment, which usually takes a lot of time, right? You have to wait for a long time, you have to find the right people, and then if you are staying abroad, like, in countries in the Western world, it's even longer, okay? And many of your children started showing symptoms or was first diagnosed during pandemic a few years back, like 1 or 2 years back. And many of you have actually shared with me how hard that was, because I can vouch for that. It was very hard for me as well. I waited for about 1 year, okay, to get my son's autism diagnosis in Canada, okay? And then I had to wait that long to get him tested for his speech, to get him tested for any other therapies that he might need, okay? And the wait period just kills us all, okay? So typically what happens is, by the way, let me know in the comment if you guys can hear me properly, and if you have any questions. Thank you so much to our COO for letting us know that everything is cool. So what happened during pandemic was, many of you might not have the opportunity to take your child to a therapist, physically and get tested, because sometimes the difference is massive. If you are testing or giving sessions via Zoom like this, it's not as effective as a one-to-one interaction, okay? So when my son got his diagnosis, it was done virtually. And of course, he was hyperactive. He could not have attention. He did not have eye contact. So it was very hard for me to get him to sit in a chair and look at the speech language pathologist, okay? So anyways, if now, alhamdulillah, we have all of those restrictions overcome, now you can take your child to the therapist, to the centers physically, and they can check real in details and in depth what your child's speech problems are. Sometimes there are problems with the jaw, sometimes there are problems with the tongue, sometimes there's problem with the eye contact, sometimes there can be problem with the ears and hearing, and a lot of other things, okay? So after that testing, what usually goes through is the sessions, okay? So typically speech language, communication sessions entitles the therapist trying to connect with your child maybe give your child some toys to play, and then try to communicate with him. Try to assess the strengths and the weakness of your child. I don't know who's calling me at this moment. That's so weird. Okay, so trying to assess the need of your child and then move with that. Okay, so my experience, so far I have actually tested him twice, because I had to, by the government. I had to get him tested because he was struggling. Okay, so I tested his speech twice, once in the beginning of our journey in Canada, and then the last time was a few months ago, after 2 years of the whole period. Okay, and we had to attend 2 sessions, which I think just me and my husband attended, not my son. He was always moving around, so it was very hard for me to get him to sit. Anyways, and the first 1 or 2 session actually told me that it's not going to help me, because the session is a lot like the therapist trying to connect with my son. And if your child is not sitting in a chair, and if your child is running around, not looking at you, not having eye contact, I don't understand how you are going to really be able to teach him something if you cannot make him sit somewhere properly. Okay, so that was a very hard thing that we had to go through. And the speech language pathology usually takes about 6 months to 1.5 years. Okay, usually in Canada we need to send our kids to therapy centers for like at least 6 months to 1.5 years to 18 months. Okay, and yesterday, because of yesterday I wanted to do a little bit of a research for this episode, and you know what happened is I got so angry and so mad and so like because, okay, let's make it simple. Per session, every 1 hour session in Canada, the SLP people, they charge us 150 Canadian dollars. Okay, so we spend 1 hour for 150 Canadian dollars. Okay, so definitely in one session nothing happens. So the typical routine is every week we need to go 2 times every week, at least for 2 hours. Okay, and it has to go on at least for 6 months to 1.5 years or more. So what I did was I did a little calculation here, and yesterday it just blew my head. So for a 3-week session, twice a week for 6 months, a Canadian or any mom or dad living in Canada with their child, we spend about 14,400 Canadian dollars just for speech therapy, just for 6 months. So if I would have done the therapies, I would have spent 14,400 Canadian dollars for just 6 months. Okay, and we all know, any of us who has been doing the therapies for months, we know it doesn't work so fast. So the next part was calculating how much it would be if I have to do it for a long period of time. So if I did that for 18 months, for 1.5 years with Muhammad, then it would have costed me 43,200 Canadian dollars. So it will cost a Canadian parent anywhere between 14,400 Canadian dollars to 43,200 Canadian dollars. Can you even imagine how much money that is? Just imagine how much money that is. And some of us have insurance, yes, but the insurance does not go on indefinitely, and the insurance has caps, like how many times you can send your child, what sort of therapies you can send and whatnot. And also sometimes the government gives us benefits, and you have to run to so many different places, get so many different signs, and literally beg people on their feet, like, please get me some benefit so that I can send my son or daughter to these speech therapy sessions because my son or daughter cannot speak. So you either spend all of this money or a partial amount of 14,400 for 6 months or 43,000 Canadian dollars for 1.5 years, and you still do not see results. Yes, day before yesterday, I was, shooting an episode with one of my graduate. Inshallah, her testimonial will be posted very soon, so stay tuned for that. She told me that she was paying 30,000 Bangladeshi taka every month, and she went there for about 1 year and it didn't work. It didn't work. Okay? But she got a lot of improvement just by 6 months of being on the protocol with us. She was like, if I knew I would have to spend all of those money and not get them back in any form of return, I wouldn't have sent my son to there. Okay? So even if in Bangladesh you are paying 30,000 per month, let me calculate right on that. By the way, if you guys are here, anybody who's from any other country and you have spent amount, just let me know per hour, how much do you spend? Let me know how much do you spend per hour in your country for a speech therapy session. Okay? So if it's in Bangladesh, so for 30,000 per month, if you send your child for 12 months, means 1 year, you spend 3,60,000 Bangladesh taka. And for some of you, you have been doing that for years. Let's say you tried it for 2 years. That will be 7,20,000 Bangladeshi taka. We charge half of that for the full program, okay? So it's one of the reasons I did not go for the therapy, because I was like, if the session looks like this, like somebody trying to teach my son something which he has no idea, no capacity to understand, to get inside his head, then it's not gonna work. Because I, like many of you at this moment, could understand that this thing is not working. Because if it was working or really well, then I wouldn't have been the only mom. Maybe I would have been the only mom who is saying that it's not working. I'm sharing my point of view, and I'm also sharing the point of view of my students who shares their struggles with me, who have tried for many years and failed and then comes back to us, and alhamdulillah, in a very short period of time, with a fraction of the cost involved, they get massive results. Okay? So the second point of why I did not try therapy for my own son are these reasons. Number one, my son had very little eye contact. He was hyperactive. He did not have any concentration. It was very hard for me to get him to sit somewhere, and it was stressing me out very, very much. That's number one. Number two, it is very expensive. Somewhere around 14,400 Canadian dollars to 43,200 Canadian dollars is what I had to spend. And my husband and we were making only around 2,200 Canadian dollars per month that time. So it's impossible for us to spend 14,400 for 6 months, because we were not even earning that much of money. Number three, I did not know people. I did not know, politicians or NGOs where I could go and beg. And I certainly didn't want to do that, because I'm not the begging kind. I am a very sort of like a self-sufficient woman. I love to make things work on my own. Yes, I go to professionals. I seek their advice. I pay them to give me the right direction, to shrink time spent for me trying to do, stuff. But I rarely beg the system to do something for me, because it usually never works properly. Okay, it usually never works. The fourth reason why I did not do speech therapy was, it was very clear to me that it's a kind of torturous way of making my son do something, because the therapist actually told me, even though she's a very nice lady, and in Western world we don't do torture our kids and things like that, like stuff that happens in Southeast Asian countries, you know. So she was like, you have to force your child to sit so that I can look at him. She told me to force Muhammad to sit on the chair so that she could look at him. And I was like, is that how you are supposed to do therapy? Then she was like, well, if your son is not looking at me, how can I teach him? Then I was like, dude, autism kids cannot look you in the eye. That's their problem. What sort of speech language pathologist are you? You are telling me to force him to have eye contact with you. How is that gonna work? That day I told my husband, I was like, I'm not signing up for any of her bullshit classes, because that is just she charging us or the government or anybody who's paying the money, but this thing is not actually helpful for my son. Okay, because she is not understanding the basic problem of my child, your child. For your son or daughter on the spectrum to learn speech is gonna come from inside, from themselves. So the other day when I was speaking with that sister, she told that I actually did not, she actually did not teach the child anything much. He learned on his own. He learned speech, he learned communicating on his own. Okay? So, the fifth reason why I did not try the speech language therapy is, as a neurodiverse myself, I understand how it feels to be forced into doing something which my body and brain doesn't know how to cope up with. You might not be a neurodiverse mom or dad, so you might not totally understand the problem of your child, or the pain of your child of not being able to do what he is supposed to do. But as a neurodiverse adult, 35-year-old, going to be 36 very soon, next month inshallah, I have been a neurodiverse all of my life, and I have gained personal experience. Who is this person calling me? Like, I have no idea. Okay, so this is not fair on our children who cannot sit down, who cannot focus, who cannot pretty much do anything to listen to the person taking the therapy sessions, okay, doing those things. It's not right. So one of our, she's going to join us soon, but she, in one of our clarity calls, she shared with me that, Apu, I took my son to, I was sending my son to a renowned organization in Bangladesh, okay? I'm not gonna name names because then they will sue me. So she sent her son to a very renowned center in Bangladesh, and the guy, he told her that you have to put headphones because your son is so hyperactive, he is not looking at me. So to gain his attention, I have to put on earphone on his ears so that he listens to me, the Zoom sessions. So the mom put on the earphone, and then he turned up the volume. So the child was like very agitated. He was crying. He was trying to pull the headphone out of his head. He was very agitated, very stressed, okay? And then she didn't understand. She is just a regular mom. She is not even somebody who has medical background or, health science background. So she was just following what she was told. And then she took the child for like 10 to 11 sessions. And then when the child came home, he would have nightmares. He would cry all day. He would break things. I mean, his problem actually increased. Okay. So one day what the mom did was, let me see why my son is so agitated when the headphone is on his ear, okay? And then she tried it on herself, and then she was like, the pain, the amount of stress that she felt when the high volume bass was going on, she was like, oh my God. Apu, she was crying when she told that to me. She was like, Apu, I felt like I was literally torturing my son to sit in that chair and take that therapy. Because I, an adult, could not really withstand the sound effect. Just imagine my son who has sensory issues, how hard that was for him. So if your therapist is saying to you that you need to force your child to sit somewhere, you need to force your child to do something, or to dangle, reward system, to dangle something, chocolates and chips and stuff in front of your toys, in front of your child, and make him do, he's not a monkey or a donkey that you will dangle a carrot and banana and toy and chocolate and make him do stuff. He's a human being. You cannot either lure him in with stuff, with bribes to do something, then you are not actually teaching him, you are training him, you are monkey training him. And the other thing is, if you are forcing your child to listen to something, to look at someone, to sit on the chair, then that's emotional and psychological torture. Neither way, your child is not really getting the support that is needed. So these are my 5 reasons why I did not send my son for therapy. Because when I started with him, I did not know you people. I was alone, one woman trying to figure it out all, just like you are. Just like you are, I will stay up all night because my daughter, she was just a newborn, right? So she was awake a lot of the time. I would spend all night Googling, learning, trying to find someone who would tell me that, okay, don't freak out, take a deep breath. You also just with me now. Your son will not be non-verbal all throughout his life, and you do not have to torture or force or make him do something that in your gut it's telling you that it's not going to work. Listen to your gut. Listen to your gut telling you how much you can do and how much you cannot do. Okay? Because our mother instincts, my scarf, anyways, our mother instinct is the best thing for our child. Okay? It's the best thing for our child. So let me know in the comment how much you liked all of this, and let's move on to the third segment on how I recovered my son's speech without any therapies. You ready? Okay, let's begin. The first thing that I did when I was working with Muhammad was understanding that the traditional way of helping an autism child is not really helping an autism child. So I had to take that risk. Many of you are very much adamant into taking risk. You are like, okay, even though the thing is not working, even though the therapies that I'm sending my son is not working, but I still am fearful to try something else because everybody is following that. That must be right. Every autism parents are sending their child to therapies. That must be right. Right? That's what you think. And you are not guilty. You are not doing, intentionally wrong. You are kind of mistaking because you are fear of ostracizing, everybody saying like, oh, you are a bad mom, you're not doing something that we all are doing, or your fear of failure. Okay, what if it works after 2 years? What if it works after 3 years? What if it works after 4 years? Right? So all of those fears of not being good enough happened. I don't know what happened. I got kicked out of the live. So let's just continue. I was speaking about the ways how I can recover, how I did recover my son's, or speech delay. Let me check why this thing happened. Okay, so never mind. So we are live again. Hop on, hurry on, let's go on. So these are the ways that I helped my son recover his speech without any therapies. The first thing that I did was having the awareness that whatever traditionally the medical system, the healthcare system, or the professionals are telling me, it's not gonna work, because I understand from my lived in experience and from being just a smart ass is this is not gonna work. So the first thing that you need to do is have the awareness that whatever you are trying right now, it's not working. If it's working, then it's fine. Keep doing that. If it's not working, whatever you are trying, if it's not working and you are not seeing results, even though they are saying, oh, you are being too, emotional, you are being a drama queen, you are just not being in good head, sue that. What you have to think is, whatever I am trying right now, is it really helping my child? If it's helping my child, by any means, keep continuing. If it's not helping your child, then what should I do? So what I did was, by the second session, I made up my mind. I'm not gonna sign up for any more classes. Okay, I will then do what? I'll try to find ways and try to understand why a child has speech delay. So that's what you need to do. You need to understand why your son or daughter has the speech delay. Okay, your child cannot sit, cannot have eye contact. So children, any children, whether they are neurotypical or neurodiverse, if you have seen my last live, I have shown you that child development has only one criteria. There is no different criteria for child development for neurodiverse and neurotypical kids. So all kids, despite the diversity or neurotypicality of their brain, moves in the same direction, develops in the same steps, okay? So you need to understand why your child is unable to learn speech, to talk. So the first thing you have to understand is the reason why your child is not being able to learn from the surrounding is, number one, his eye contact is pretty much zero. Number two, maybe of the hyperactivity, he's not sitting anywhere, not having the focus to learn things. Number three, and which is actually the biggest reason, is your child's brain has a lot of toxins and fogs, which is preventing the proper production of chemicals and neurotransmitters so that the brain can connect and function. Okay, so when you remove those toxins and allow the brain to heal and pretty much like rewire, then your child's attention, focus, hyperactivity will be gone, and then he will be able to sit somewhere and listen to you or the teachers. Okay, step number one was awareness. Step number two is changing the diet. The 5 pillars protocol, I vouch for that because it works. I will, till the death, I will keep on saying this. You need to change your child's diet. You need to give your child sugar-free, preservative-free, unpackaged, natural, homemade, deeply love-filled food with very little starch or grains. What's wrong with the starch or grain is this. Ayurveda says this very beautifully. You are what you eat. You are what you digest. So I have seen the difference between the essential physiological difference between a neurotypical and a neurodiverse child is the digestive system. A neurotypical kid can digest milk, can digest, glutens a little bit better than neurodiverse kids. So when your child cannot digest those foods, they produce a lot of gluteomorphins, casomorphins, and many other chemicals that affects the brain development. Then your child's gut is imbalanced. So the gut is where 80% of serotonin, which is mood enhancer, melatonin, which is sleep inducer, dopamine, which is like the feel good, feel good chemical. All of these chemicals are predominantly made in your child's gut. So the reason why your child is hyperactive, has sensory issue, cannot sleep, is angry, agitated, is because of the gut imbalance. And the reason why your child cannot have eye contact and then, learn things is because the brain has a lot of fog and cannot wire properly. So you have to heal the brain and the gut, and we do that with number 1, food. That's pillar number 2. And number 3 is detoxification. Okay? So detoxification is a process which the body goes through, but you have to help your child because your child's detox system is not working properly. Okay? As clear as that, as simple as that. So how we do that is we change the diet. We give our child a natural Ayurvedic tonic, which helps the child's, detox system. And then it helps flush out toxins. And it helps boost your child's immunity as well as the power of the body to let go of the toxins that is created in the body or coming from outside. Okay? So to learn more about it, please go to my other episode where I have spoken about the detox systems. And you would love that. I have shared a lot of information in that one. So that was step number 3. Step number 4 is to give your child a nourishing, loving, grounded lifestyle. What do I mean by that? What I mean is, if your child is waking up at 10 a.m., going to bed at 12 a.m. or 3 a.m. at night, and sleeping until the very late morning, then if your child is not seeing the daylight that much, is inside your apartment most of the time, is not playing outdoors, is not playing on the grass, is not playing in open environment, then that's a problem. Then if you are in Western countries, for example, now, today why I'm sitting here is because we have like a cloudy atmosphere going on and there is very little sunlight, okay? So you need to bring your child to outside, let him play. The way you give him a bath, the way you, the things that you use for your child's, like for example, if you are using chemical-based soaps and detergents and things like that, then obviously those will affect, because the skin is the largest organ of our body. Okay, skin is the largest organ of our body, which absorbs toxins and anything that is put on the child's skin. So lifestyle entitles everything. How you feed your child, how your child plays, how your child sleeps, how your child takes a bath, how your child is doing and bringing up his lifestyle, living his life. Let me just put it down, it's annoying me. Okay, so all of these things need to be grounding, need to be nourishing, need to be supporting your child's development, and your child needs to be feeling loved, cared, understood, and supported through our 5th pillar, which is need-based parenting. So let's say you have been raised by a mother who would scold you a lot, who would beat you, maybe punish you for things that you're not doing that she wants, and you have learned that as a part of parenting, and then you implement that on your child. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Why? Because first of all, the way of parenting that we have been parented is not exactly the right way, I would say. Many of the things that our parents did were right, teaching us the right and wrong and all of those things, but some of the techniques and strategies and tactics that they used was not right, such as physical punishment, emotional abandonment. Let's say your mom might be someone who stops talking to you if you do something wrong. That's emotional abandonment. That's emotional abandonment. That you not speaking to your child for a period of time just to teach your child to not do that thing is actually abandoning the child and making him feel like he has become motherless or fatherless, yatim. That's how your child will feel if you emotionally abandon him. You might feel like he's a small baby or he's, not understanding. He understands everything. He doesn't know how to reciprocate and communicate, which he can learn if you follow the right protocol and the right steps and stuff. But the reason why your child is not learning things is because the brain is not supported enough to learn new things. So the 5 ways that I helped my son, and that's how you can help your child, and that's what we teach to our students, are this. Number 1 is your mindset, your inner work, your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, the faith with Allah or your God, having the faith that he will definitely help you. He doesn't want you to be poor. He doesn't want you to be desperate. He doesn't want you to be upset, depressed, all of those things. So the first thing that you need to know, the first pillar is your mindset, your inner work, your emotional, mental, physical state. The mother is the first pillar. A healthy mother is the first pillar of a healthy child. If you do not agree, you are in trouble. And you need to take care of yourself, not at the expense of your child. That's toxic self-care. But do it in a positive self-care way. You take care of your child and you take care of yourself. If you are buying jewelries, if you are buying assets, if you are going outside and you do not want to spend some money on your child, then that's toxic self-care. Some of us do that. I see it online all the time. People ask and beg for scholarships, and then I see them wearing 10, 15 bhori of gohanas, jewelries, and go outside and have fun. Okay? That's reality. Anyways, so you need to understand the positive self-care and toxic self-care. Okay? So pillar number one was what? Taking care of yourself, being the positive mom for your child's complete development. That's phase 1. Second thing that you need to do is change your child's diet, because whatever food he is eating right now is full of junk, less nutritious, not even free. I would say negative nutrition, which means it has more chemicals and more bad things than good things. Okay? Change the diet, work on your child's gut healing. The third thing that your child needs is detoxification, and pretty deep and intense plus soft approach, so that your child's body and brain can let go of the toxins. And then the fourth thing is lifestyle, taking care of how he sleeps, how he eats, how he plays, what sort of movies is he watching, what sort of not having handheld gadgets, not watching TV for too long, parents giving child more time. Because what we do is, right? If you are spending a lot of time on scrolling through the internet, that time is wasted for everybody. The only place that you need to scroll is information-packed episodes like Tuesdays with Dr. T, like I am teaching right now. So find influencers, find doctors, find people to follow through in small bursts, not all day, every night kind of thing. If you do that every night, then you are bombarding your brain with too much information. Too much information is never actually helpful, okay? So that was the fourth pillar, giving your child the right lifestyle support so that your child can learn things in a non-stressful way, okay? And the last thing that you need to take care of is need-based parenting, understanding your child, and not parenting your child based on the typical way that we were parented, physically abusing your child, mentally abusing your child, emotionally abandoning your child. Those things are not going to help your child. The only way and the only way for you to achieve your child's speech, communication, social skills, independent life is to, number one, understand that you play a very important role, way more than anyone else in the world. So you are an asset. You need to take care of yourself. You need to have the positive faith on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, on your Lord, and work through that. You need to accept your child's diagnosis. Many of the fathers do not accept their child's diagnosis. How come? Why won't you accept? Not, saying that, oh, nothing is wrong with my son is not, that thing is not going away. Autism never goes away like that. Autism doesn't go away like that. Neurodiversity doesn't go away like that. Okay? What you have to do is accept your child's struggle and work on that in the right way. Whatever you are trying for your child, if it's not working, then you gotta change the way. As simple as that. Okay? So these are the 5 ways I have worked on my son's improvement. He said his first word understandably. Your child speaking, your child saying rhymes, saying A to Z, saying 1, 2, 3 is not speech. Many of you confuse this, unfortunately. Many of you, when you speak with me, you're saying like, Apu, she is doing a lot of rhymes, she is doing a lot of, playing with herself. That's not really speech. Speech is, let's say, understandably communicating. You ask her to do something, she is doing that. She is showing or telling you in words with context what she or he needs, what he wants from you. Okay? That's communication, that's speech. So Muhammad got his first understandable real speech was around 6 months. And by 8th month, he said his first full sentence, which was, I love you, mom. Oh, yeah, I know. That was his first sentence. Okay. And after that, it was a journey. There would be months, even with our protocol, there can be weeks, there can be a few months, you might not see new development. But that's okay. Why? Because sometimes your child's brain works in waves. It's step by step by step. It's never it never works like that. Okay? So pausing, if your child is just pausing and not learning new things, even on a right protocol, it might be because there is a plateau and you work through that. Okay? So there has been months when I had to just have faith and not look on whether it's working or not. Because here is a very easy example. Let's say I potted this plant in seed and every day I am removing the soil to see, is it growing? Is it growing? So every day I'm looking, oh, is it growing? Is it growing fruits and flowers? Do you think it's gonna help your child? No. Over attention also doesn't help. So what I did was I did follow a very authentic, a very practical, a very sustainable, a very cost-effective, scientific-based system for him, and I relaxed. I did not always judge his action. I did not always want him to show me stuff. Wind comes, but might not be every day, and that's okay. That's totally okay. Just like you might sometimes have a good day and a bad day, your child might have a good day and a bad day. But if you are not following any special protocol, if you're not following any special diet, if you are not you're just giving him whatever he wants to eat and you are sending your child to some therapies, it's not the right way. If it's working for you, alhamdulillah, that's fine. It did not work for me. It did not work for my students. It's not working for many of our community members, our success nerds. Okay? So, the last segment is an announcement, a very special bonus for you all. So, if you are somebody who has been following me for a while, this is your chance to talk to me face to face. Okay? So, on 22nd of March, this Thursday, I am going to be having a Zoom session for you all. Not like a live, because in live, I see only myself in the mirror, okay, in the context. So for you, you get the chance to speak with me one-to-one. and see me and share your most burning questions, and I will answer them. Okay? So if you want to register for that session, for that Zoom session, which is free of cost, you don't have to pay anything. It's just my way of starting the Ramadan with good deeds, inshallah. Okay? So register by saying bonus. Just write in the comment bonus, BONUS, and then someone from our team will contact you, will register you, so that you can watch me face to face on 22nd March at 10 a.m. Eastern time, which is 8 p.m. Bangladesh time, and 7 a.m. PST, I guess. I will leave the links and everything down in the description. And that day, I will be announcing some really cool bonuses and scholarships for you all. So I know how much money is important, but I also know how much money you are actually wasting. You are wasting somewhere between lakhs and tens of thousands of dollars, and it's not helping you. Let's invest in something that has 10 times more benefit, that has been proven for over 50 students of ours that it's helping them. Let's take a chance on our child's future this Ramadan. Okay? Ramadan Mubarak. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for staying until the end. Let me know in the comment if you want anything else, support, new topics to help work on. I will do that for you because I'm always at your service. And if you want to register for the free call Q&A, just let me know in the comments using the word bonus. And if you want to learn more about us, go to www.autismsuccessacademy.com, our new platform. I love that. Many of you have said you like the features and the looks. So without further ado, let's just jump on and make our life an epic life ever, because it's possible. It's very much possible. Okay? You need to have the faith. You need to have the focus. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.